1:02 p.m. And the Board of Trustees of the Harris County Department of Education now convened in a regular board meeting on Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021, in the boardroom at 6300 Irvington Boulevard, Houston, Texas, at 1:03 p.m., not to sound redundant. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present at this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As trustees, as we all know, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy decisions for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the department are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on today's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. This meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by Section 551071 to 551084, inclusive of the Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking time this afternoon to join us and your interest in Harris County Department of Education. To say it's always good to be back here. Okay, so we're going to go right along, and we're going to start with the invocation from Denise Johnson.
God of wisdom, thank you for every seat that has been filled here today, for each person that is present in this room. Thank you for allowing the HCDE family to meet to discuss and discern the affairs, personnel, and properties that you have allowed them to manage. As the giver of wisdom, provide the discernment and knowledge required to maintain order. As board members review policies and goals, provide them with the wisdom, understanding, and skills to make the correct recommendations. Allow the members of this board to be quick to listen and slow to speak, and courageous to seek assistance and instruction when needed. This board has a vision, ideas, talents, and abilities. Provide each member with the confidence in which you made them to be. Allow members to work together efficiently and with the citizens of Harris County in mind. Also inspire our leaders to align with the common good. And as fear grips so many, let us choose to love and find new and creative ways to embrace our citizens, students, administrators, educators, and school staff. Lord, help each of us to build a culture of integrity and mutual respect. Give members of the board and the Harris County family the ability to strive to make decisions for the good of all stakeholders and guide against self-interest. Father, help each to develop skills as peacemakers to know how and when to meditate, consolate, and to negotiate. In faith and hope, we trust in your presence and guidance today. Help each to enjoy the work they have agreed to do. Keep us by the gift of your grace in harmony with your will so that we may all act as one. Amen.
And while we're up, if Thomas Plapp will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flag. Thomas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Pursuant to Government Code 5510035, this is the chance where we have public participation. And I don't see anyone wanting to speak with us, which is fair enough. But if someone did want to speak with us, they'd fill out a form at the beginning of this meeting within, I think, about 10 or 15 minutes. 10 minutes, okay. I stand corrected. Open forum. That's what we just did. So we're going to go to the reports and presentations. Joe, carry on. If you would, I hope you said your last name right, Joe. Would you give us an annual update on our construction?
Yes, sir, and that was good enough. So I am Joe Carrion, the construction director for HCDE. And I'll give you a quick update of what we've been doing for the past year. So who we are, our executive director is Rich Vela with Facility Support Services. I'm Joe Carrion. We also have Armando Lazo, who is our construction project manager. It's a grant-funded position. We were recently awarded for the Coolwood project. Albert Valadez, who is our construction and environmental specialist. He does all our playground inspections and fire alarm inspections. And Thomas Plapp, who is our fixed assets clerk. Some of the services that we've provided, construction budget planning for the county schools, for Head Start facilities. We also do CSP evaluations for general contractors and RFQ evaluations for professional services such as architects and engineers. We do technical writing for the Head Start grant applications, project management for county school projects and Head Start projects as well. Again, playground inspections and the ropes course inspections, we do those annually. We do fire and safety inspections at all the schools, fixed asset inventory, and facility assessments. So some of the project highlights was the completion of ABS West during COVID. That was a challenge, but it was a successful project, and we hope to replicate this school at ABS East. We also had the sensory room installation. We did that outside of the contract. And we worked with a vendor from Choice Partners to design and install the sensory room equipment. We also worked with another Choice Partners vendor to have the playground installed at ABS West. We did the Fortis Academy Gym HVAC project. As you know, we've got an outdoor classroom in that area. And this air conditioning unit was loud and was an eyesore, and we were able to put a more modern air conditioning unit in the gym, which is their multi-purpose area. We also did the Liebert system at MPO server room, which is basically a HVAC system that cools down the server room. We were also able to upgrade the elevator equipment at MPO. And future project is the ABS East campus. Myself and Mr. Vela are managing this project. We also have the Coolwood Head Start project, which we're currently under contract negotiations with the architect. And coming soon are Humble Early Head Start and Barrett Station. Some of the trends that we're seeing, again, due to COVID-19, the commercial market has really been volatile this past year. All the commodities have just kind of skyrocketed, and here recently, oil and gas prices have increased, and all these have a direct impact on material costs. Any questions?
I do a little bit. Thank you for your service to the organization. Is what first thing I say. We've been keeping you busy.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure we're going to continue keeping you busy. If I have my way, we are.
Absolutely.
Okay, with the, you said, go back to the last slide, you said something about commercial projects. So you were just basically saying that, that commercial construction, okay, so it's just been volatile with all the everyone focusing on construction is what I think you were just
Well,
saying.
one thing that I'm seeing out in the market and speaking to different contractors is, you know, when the oil gas prices dropped and you don't see a lot of these oil and gas companies building anymore. You don't see them, you don't see any medical facilities being built that are outside of the current need. And so commercial construction is kind of stalled a little bit, which could work in our favor with more competitive pricing when we're ready to go out for bid. But again, some of the commodities have increased as well. We've seen copper prices increase, iron ore has increased, wood has tripled in price, which we don't use a whole lot of wood aside from furniture, but it still has an impact on our prices. Yes, sir.
No, I don't.
You go ahead.
Do you, with the recent freeze and some facilities, is that, you think that possibly, because I know right now everybody's been real busy, a lot of plumbers and a lot of people a lot of pipes burst and a lot of construction. Is that, you think that'll impact any of our upcoming projects at all?
Well, we're definitely going to have to take another look at how we insulate our plumbing. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact because by the time we're ready to go out for bid on our projects, hopefully most of these issues have been addressed. But we'll definitely take a second look at how everything is insulated.
Please,
I'd
Superintendent.
just like to say that Joe's done a great job. His folks are hyper responsive to our facility needs. Oftentimes when we have severe weather, and it's pretty dangerous outside, our people are still checking on facilities to basically be able to minimize damage control. I'll talk a little bit more about that in my superintendent's report. But I just really appreciate our staff and all the work that they do, and I appreciate your leadership. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Joe, just a quick question on that AC unit that you relocated or replaced.
Yes, sir.
Where did you put it? I'm just curious.
Oh, unfortunately, I didn't add a picture of the unit, but we did a VRF system. What you saw there was a typical rooftop unit, which kicks like a mule. I mean, that thing, when it turns on, you can hear it from, you know, across the property. And so we went with a variable refrigerant flow system, which when the compressors kick on, they actually slowly start to turn, and so there's minimal interruption to the classroom. And so we were able to put it, as you know, the Fortis Academy is a fascinating building. It used to be a mechanic shop maybe 20 or 30 years ago. So we have garage doors that are there at the gym. So we put it right in between two garage doors.
So it's kind of mounted on the
No, it's actually mounted on the floor.
on the floor.
And on the concrete rather, and we install a iron fence around the condensers.
Inside or outside?
It's outside.
Oh, okay.
It's outside. So it's a split system. What it is, it's like a larger mini split system. I don't know if you're familiar with mini split systems, where you've got a condenser outside with two copper pipes leading inside to, you see them mostly at hotels, but very, very quiet and very efficient system. All right. Thank you, guys.
I have a feeling we're going to see more of him. Huh. Okay, an annual update from Adult Education, Stephanie Ross.
Good afternoon, President Dick, trustees, and Superintendent Colbert. My name is Stephanie Ross. I'm the Senior Director of Adult Education. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to present the 1920 program highlights. But before I do, if I could, I'd like to acknowledge my team, my leadership team that's here right now. Would you all stand? So who we have today is Linda Fiocco, Director, Angelica De Leon, Program Manager, Bill Medina, Program Manager, May O'Brien, Program Manager, Denise Johnson, Program Manager, and Bridget Bentley, our Budget and Compliance Officer. While I have the opportunity, I'd just like to thank you guys publicly. I like to do that when we're in our offices, but thank you so much for your hard work and commitment to our learners. There are a group of people that aren't here today that I would like to acknowledge if they're watching virtually. That's our support staff and our teachers. Thank you so much for your hard work. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So, who or what is adult education? I like to think of our program as an empowerment program, although it's an educational program, but we're here to fill in the gaps for our student learners. We have literacy, workforce, and also employability programming, but it's really to empower our learners to become economically stable and sustain their lives and overall well-being. What services do we provide? As I mentioned, just to highlight a few, we have an ESL program, a high school equivalency prep program. We have workforce certificate programs, and just to explain that a little bit, these are like trades, vocational certificate programs that can be used for employment, and then communications and employability, as well as workplace safety programming. This is what I'm excited about. In 1920. So just to highlight our performance, we served unduplicated 6,638 students in a various number of programs, ESL, high school equivalency, civics, which are students that are looking to apply for citizenship, workforce, employer services, where we work with employees at particular companies to upskill them, and of course our workforce programs. Why am I excited about this? We achieved this number on March the 12th of 2020, and we had 3 more months to go. Had we not had the pandemic, I believe, as our forecast, we would have served more than 10,000 students, and I think that's incredible. Something that is not here that's very important, that not tracked, are the number of phone calls to students that we made to talk them through the pandemic. We actually mailed out more than 500, close to 600 textbooks to students because they lack technology. The wellness calls that all of us made, thousands of hours, learning, keeping our students connected, working with resources in the community. So this is incredible. So thank you guys. So pre-pandemic, we were about 35 to 36 sites, consisting of the ISDs, some faith-based organizations, nonprofits, educational institutions, and 5 to 6 businesses. We are the largest adult ed program in the state of Texas. One of the things that's really incredible about what we do is that our programs span pre-COVID across 65 miles. So you can almost imagine that we were everywhere in Harris and Liberty County. The strength of our program is due to our partnerships. Just to highlight a few, we have a great long-standing partnership with Merrick Construction, S&V Engineering, Methodist, EdOp Solutions, Advantage, Pioneer School of Phlebotomy. We would not be able to deliver these services to our students without the support of these great partners. Some key highlights. As you guys know, in March, we had to transition our entire program to a virtual platform, which was huge. We are now nearly 100% virtual. We went to 100% full automation. And I like to give thanks when thanks is due. The support of REI and TLC to make that happen, we would not have been able to do that without their support, as well as the rest of my E&E team. I'm over time. We delivered 6,000 hours of professional development, where we had to upskill our teachers and our administrative support staff to do so that we could deliver those classes to the students. We hosted enrichment workshops, which we titled the Teacher's Excellence Corner, and that was to encourage, I'll give you some examples, to encourage our teachers in the time of COVID to stay connected to them as well, because we were very concerned. Some meditation, enrichment there, we talked about diversity, we talked about a lot of things. We had some great workshops. We had 107 students earn their high school equivalency certificates even during the pandemic. And we had a great partnership that was established with the Workforce Solutions, where we have a exchange of referral students and services, where we refer students to the Workforce Solutions and they refer students to us for adult ed benefits. Our opportunities for growth. You'll hear this in the next year or so, contact to careers, so empowerment programs. The end game here is that our students become economically powerful, that they feel a sense of worth, and so we're wanting them to advance their careers. We want them to have jobs or continue their education, so you'll hear that. Hybrid learning platforms, obviously everything changed with COVID. We're all virtual now. We'll have a mix of face-to-face and virtual learning. Increased automation, technology has been our friend. We're gonna have to continue to embrace that. The micromedia, e-learning, those are those apps that you see. In fact, we actually have some students that are creating apps, so I think that's wonderful. And then in the past, similar to K through 12, we have academic measurements, but we have not really focused on that. And so what we want to do in this year is really focus on having measurable skills gains, I'm sorry, Melissa, for our students, where they're actually achieving and being able to see their academic gains. And now questions.
Trustee Duhon?
Thank you for that presentation. I'd like to start with just asking, can you please email that to all of us, because I'd love to have that.
100%,
And
yes, thank you.
Also, are there any requests from your department of programs that you're not currently capable of doing that you'd like to be able to get into?
Yes, our students, we survey our students all the time. They have some requests for more programs in technology. Ally Health is huge. With the pandemic, we kind of pulled back because obviously we wanted to be careful with the safety of the students for medical assisting, phlebotomy, EKG, and things like that. The trades, we weren't able to cover the trades. In the past we were, but that's a very hands-on program, so we're learning to transition that into a virtual environment. Entrepreneurship, I will tell you, has actually gone up. Students want to be owners. They're self-employed, so we're actually Linda has written a curriculum for that that we plan to launch in the fall. Social media marketing, our millennials are very much engaged with technology, and they're finding careers in that, so we want to meet their demand.
Vice President Norris?
And I was looking at where a lot of our students look, like Houston ISD and Pasadena has huge numbers. So are we partnered up with any of the programs there, especially with, I see one of the opportunities for growth of career pathways. Are we partnered up with, like, Houston has some programs for young adults in certain areas. I don't know if Pasadena has something equivalent, but are we partnered up with some of these programs that we could possibly, so once they get their high school equivalency, can we help funnel them, or if they get their trade certificate in a trade, can we help funnel them to something that, like you said, they could either get some training or get some experience, or possibly even get some entrepreneurship. I guess I'm just more wondering, are we partnering up so after they leave our doors, we can make sure that they're still funneled to the right path to go out and.
Definitely. So that is a part of our contact to careers. So you may enter into the program wanting to get your high school equivalency. Once you've actually achieved that, either you'll have your career with us with the certificate program, or we'll help refer you to one of our partners or an employer that can help upskill you in that way. But I do want to say that the Opportunity Youth is an area of growth for us, and we are going to be serving a population that we haven't served in the past in the next couple of years, which is the students that are outside of our age group, between high school and 22. Opportunity Youth.
Okay.
Superintendent Colburn?
I'd just like to say I'm very proud of our adult education program. I think it is a significant thing when not only do we know, but others recognize that we're the largest program in the state of Texas, and that's saying a lot with the size of Texas. I look forward to our workforce development opportunities that we're looking at doing later on this year and talking more about that. But I also know that your staff is looking forward to a brand new facility that's coming y'all's way too. So you're all about to have the Taj Mahal of adult ed programs, facilities. Well, here, yeah, I'll mess up the budget. So kudos to you and your team, and y'all need to keep up the good work and keep pushing. Thank you.
Mr. Colbert.
So, Trustee Davis?
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you for all of what you have done. I just have a quick question. You spoke on metrics. So if we have an enrollment in a particular program and the breakdown of cultural or race and ethnic groups, do we try to fill in that gap of enrollment? And in what ways do we try to reach to other communities to see how we can reach them into these programs as well?
Sure, and thank you for that. I did not add the demographics here, but I would say that 75% of our participants are from various countries, and also the ethnicity breakdown are Hispanic, Asian, within that 75%. Our outreach is obviously, especially now during the virtual, that we're able to really reach further than the 65 mile span. So we work with specific organizations and associations that are specifically tied to a ethnic group or a particular demographic. I hope I answered that.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd note that I think the board is one of our most important functions. I think the board considers adult education. I think this board has a very deep commitment to adult education, and we want to continue to develop it. And we will continue to develop it, of course, through the superintendent. We're happy with the things you've done. I'm personally, I love the idea of trade schools, and I love the idea that, you know, our reach could have been, 10,000 people instead of what we had. We dealt with the cards we were dealt with. We dealt with the best we could. So thank you, Stephanie.
No, thank you.
I hope to see you more. I hope that, you know, I hope we are pushing you, at least through the superintendent, we're pushing you to, you know, go out and make a big impact on our community and, you know, educate our adults. We need it. They need it.
And please send those demographics to us if you don't mind.
I will.
Thank
I surely will, and I'll send the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Ms. Ross, thank you to you and your staff for all the work you do to in a lot of ways, giving adults in our community a second chance at you know, a better career, maybe a job period, or a better job. And so I'll echo the sentiment of our president. You know, this is something that's very important to us. I too support this division. Anything you need, more resources. You know, we want to make it not just the biggest. We want to make it the best.
Yes.
So I've got a couple of requests and questions. First off, you mentioned all the ISDs and faith-based organizations, nonprofits, education agencies, and businesses. If we could get specific names, so we'd like to know who we're working with, and how we're working with them. Are they partnering with us on GED or ESL or civics? Just we'd like to know that. Also, you know, you mentioned we've gone completely online, and I'm just concerned about our clients, our students, what's the situation with their connectivity? If you could give us a report on that.
Sure.
Because I know in the ISDs, that's been a real big issue, kids not having access to technology. So.
And we have addressed that. We do have some partnerships that we're not mentioning here with Verizon. Some of our consortium partners, we have a laptop. We will initiate a laptop trade program and rental coming up. Superintendent invested some money into technology in which we'd like to utilize that to give it to students as well. The Workforce Solutions, they have resources also. Although, I mean, we have not been able to serve all the students, but in lieu of technology, we do try to send them hard copy textbooks and do telephone calls and tutor them that way as well.
Sounds good. Yeah, so, you know, we keep us posted on that, that connectivity with the students, making sure that I'm concerned about their access to technology. And most of the time, it impacts the people that need these programs the most, the lower income folks that are really, this is a lifeline for them to a better job.
Yes.
And it's those folks that are probably hurting the most in these times. I'd like to know if we track students who, as I mentioned, who get a job because of our you know, training or certification or a GED, and or get a better job. And then I'd like to also ask you to track any of our students that are accessing higher education or other technical training.
Yes.
I think that's a measure of success that I'd like for us to kind of continue to look at and expand those partnerships with the community colleges, with technical training organizations, so that, you know, we're making sure that they're not falling through the cracks and falling through the gaps, and making sure that we're connecting them. And do we have staff available to help students make those connections?
We do. We
Okay.
do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to say thank you for the work that you do. My parents didn't graduate high school, so the adult ed program is near and dear to my heart. My mom did receive her GED, so I see the impact. But I had a question. So I see that you reached about 6,000 students. So I was curious, how do you reach out to students? Do they come to you, or is there a marketing plan to get more students involved in the program?
Yes, we do a marketing campaign with our partners at some of those 36 locations. The ISDs, for example, they promote our programs to their parents in the community. The faith-based organizations do the same. We are ramping up our outreach with our social media and other avenues that we have not been as strong in. So I would say that that's a needs improvement, but we're word of mouth has really been a good success for us, but we're going to be more intentional about it in the upcoming year.
Okay. Again, thank you for the work that you do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Please let us know what we can do to get that word
Thank
out
you.
as well.
Okay.
We're willing to help.
Thank you.
And Richard brought up a point that Trustee Cantu brought up a point. I thought, so are we partnered with community colleges? I see the workforce program, but I'm just curious. Are we partnered up with other community colleges? So when somebody does get their high school equivalency, they can say, okay, well, I want to go and get, you know, I want to go to a community college, and then I'm going to go to continue to go. So I don't know what
Sure. So Wharton College, HCC, Lone Star, and San Jacinto.
all part.
So we are, yes.
Great.
Thank you.
So moving right along, announcement of awards from the Governmental Finance Officers Association, GFOA, for HCDE 2019 Popular Annual Finance Report, PAFR.
Yes, we have received for the 13th year in a row the Outstanding Achievement in Popular Annual Financial Report. Now what all they give you is the little number at the end, but it's kind of heavy, so we'll send you a copy of the award. I want to thank the divisions, special our communications department that helped us put together a lot of the visual and the document itself. So just information for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving right along, I'm sure we have an excellent report from our superintendent, James Colbert.
Okay, President, I don't know about that, but first, I've got several items. First, I'd like to update the board on the status of our facilities in light of Winter Storm Uri. We had several campuses impacted, mostly our Head Start. The first campus that was impacted that I'd like to talk to you about is High Point East. We had some burst pipes outside of the building with that. Minor damage to the food preparation area, but that has all been resolved and repaired. Baytown Head Start had 2 pipes burst in the fire suppression system. The impact of that was damage to the storage closet, outdoor ceiling panels, and the status of that is in the process of being repaired, and the systems are being tested because that's the fire suppression. Also on that campus, we had burst domestic water line. The impact on that was minor damage to ceiling tiles in the restrooms of classroom 1 and 2, and that interior damage has been repaired. LaPorte Head Start, we had a burst water line in the kitchen. The damage of that was to the storage closet in the kitchen, and that has been repaired. And finally, Sheffield Head Start, which had significant damage. I had an opportunity to go out to that campus with Mr. Parker, Mr. Bella, and apparently we had multiple pipes bust in that building throughout the entire building, and it looks like the water ran for quite some time. It flooded it really good. We have major damage to the kitchen, to the offices, the copy room, the multipurpose room, the hallway. I mean, when you're in the hallway, the tile has buckled up, and so all of that's going to have to be stripped out and replaced into classroom 1. And so we're waiting for an insurance adjuster to repair that, and currently formalizing contingency plans for where we're going to relocate that campus, because I think that campus is going to be down for a minimum 2 months and more likely 3. Mr. Parker and Benita, Ms. Peacock have been developing a pretty elaborate plan. We've got, like I said, our advantage is we have some vacant facilities that we can use for staff, and then we have the opportunity to continue to meet the students' needs, even if it's virtually. Next, I'd like to pass along, let me see, the mailer that's going out in April. What is that? So as you know, this year we had a traditional mailer, a smaller one that went out to several 100,000 residents, and then we had a mailer go out and be a part of the Impact Community magazine. This will be the last of the group for this year, and then next year, you know, we'll look at how we will modify our steps moving forward. You'll see in this mailer, one, I love the cover. We used to have an annual chess tournament. We haven't been able to do it this year because of COVID, but this is a photo from one of our young men at one of our AB campuses who participated in that. But if you open this up, you'll see on the front page, the first section, we're really recognizing and honoring our adult ed program and just telling a little bit about that and showing the facility that's coming that way. In the center of the mailer, and mind you, it won't be this cardstock. You know, when we got it, those who got the first one, it was way thinner, you know, because they have to fold it up in that newspaper. So you've got the more fancy version with the thicker cardstock, but it won't be this. But we're highlighting our 2 ABS campuses, both East and West, and the programs that we have there, the facilities that we have there. And then finally, we're recognizing Fortis Academy and really putting that out there and the opportunities that it can provide to students who wish to attend, and encouraging parents who might be interested to who to contact. In fact, we decided to haze Dr. Ned a little bit more and put his name and his phone number in there so they can call him directly, and he can provide immaculate service to them as he finds a way to be able to get a contract with their districts so they can attend Fortis Academy. So we're really proud of this initiative. Ms. Clark and I were actually talking earlier this week, and I'll talk more with the board a little bit later. I think these have done well. But to be fair, I think that the mailer that we did prior to these were probably more impactful. I was talking to Mr. Dick on Monday. And so we may switch up a little bit next year and just do 2 mailers instead of the Impact magazine, but send it out to more people. And we'll save, because I think more people got it and actually read them. I think I've underestimated how many people probably don't read the Impact magazine. I read them, just, you know, the restaurants that are in there. I'm always curious about that. So that's that. Next, I'd like to pass out. Y'all directed me several months ago that y'all wanted an opportunity to read to little ones. And so you're up. Be careful what you ask for.
Okay.
And they're waiting. And so we have liked to formalize this process, and we call it Books with the Board. And so what you will have is 2 documents in front of you. The first is a card that kind of explains what the program is and when it will start. But if you turn to the back of the card, this is not mandatory for you to participate in this if you so choose to. Now remember, this is a commitment that you make every single month.
Okay.
And it's on the same day of each month. And it only takes probably 20, 30 minutes of your time. But you would put your name on there and check whether you want to participate in this or not and get this back to me today. And then there'll be more information that follows.
Yes.
I can tell you I've been reading to our Head Start students for probably 4 years, maybe 5 years now. And I was telling Mr. Parker and Ms. Peacock this week that, man, every morning I'm just like, oh, man, I got to drive all the way out. And golly, it's going to slow me down. And I'm just like, dragging and just kicking myself that I gotta go all the way over here and then I gotta go all the way back and blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I get in that room, one of the little kids say, Mr. Colbert, Mr. Colbert. And I just melt. I'm ready to get on my hands and knees and crawl in there and just play around with the kids. It's awesome. You know, they really fill my cup. When I get out of there, I'm always like, what was I thinking? I love doing this. Now I can tell you this year I've been doing them Zoom. And we really didn't start up Zoom till probably, 3 months ago? So when we do get this started, you're going to be Zooming it for this year. And then hopefully next year we can get back into the classrooms and in front of the little ones. Mm-hmm. And you might be surprised if you end up reading to more than one classroom. Because if someone doesn't show up, I've been known to read to 4 classrooms before. So that's that. And then finally, just a reminder, we were able to solidify, you know, for those who don't know in the crowd, we've tried to do a board retreat for about 1.5 years now. First time we had a pandemic make us reschedule that meeting, and then we had ice and cold weather and everything else come from the sky and cover Houston, so it pushed that back literally like the week of the retreat that we're supposed to have. So I'm happy to hear that for the most part, we've got consensus on Friday, and so I look forward to that. And I think that we're going to have a good retreat. Not this Friday, next Friday. Thank you, Ms. Langlois. And with that, President, that's all I have.
Any board members have any questions for the superintendent? Trustee Duhon.
I'm just wondering if they're going to get to choose who speaks to them, because they're going to want me to eventually.
All right, you say that. Now, I'm just going to tell you, you might want to wear some gloves when you get there, because sometimes those kids got stuff coming all over the place. And they're not afraid to show you, too.
Vice President Danny Norris?
Go ahead.
So when you mentioned some of the damages, one of the damages I remember you mentioned about the Baytown Head Start. Now that's a fairly new building. I guess is there any thought on? Because I thought I was assuming the buildings that might have been impacted were probably the older ones that are not as up to date. But that's a fairly. I remember they're groundbreaking. So that's within the last couple of years. Is there anything that we need to be considering as far as new projects to make sure that we don't have busted pipes and
That's a question I would have to send out to our other people, but I'll just say that, the pattern that I've seen with this storm is that people who've been without power, the second thing they end up with is bursted pipes. And it's because the heat is turning off and it's not keeping, and it's always the ceiling pipes that have gone. I believe with Baytown, it was 2 burst pipes in the suppression system, so that was the sprinkler system, which that kind of surprises me. But then there was a domestic water line. I really don't know what that is, but yeah, I think that, as Joe had mentioned earlier, we're taking all those things into consideration with all the facilities. They're teachable moments for us.
Any other board, Trustee Davis?
Yes, first, thank you for this. It has really been insightful. And I'm sure you're on top of this, but I like the idea of you saying expanding. I'm wondering if you're going to use certain zip codes and so forth to send this to, so it can possibly assist with our adult education outreach and so forth, or just to gain the interest of the community. I'm sure you've probably already thought of that. I just wanted to add that.
And so I think that's excellent. There's a lot of conversations about what goes in and what we're trying to do and what next year would look like, trying to play chess, not checkers with this. But I would welcome any feedback that any trustee has. Because this has been a new initiative, this year has been more informative. And what we would like to evolve to is to be able to report and update people on what's going on in those buildings and those systems and that kind of thing, that they can see that adult ed is doing this, that, and the other, and even be able to provide dates. Assuming that not many people know who we are right now, this is a great opportunity to kind of tell them who we are and what we do. And so you'll see that we've rotated departments in these mailers. We've got some other departments that need to be recognized, and we'll look at whether we're going to do that at the beginning of next year or not. But yeah, any feedback, I would appreciate it.
Any other trustee? Before I start, I do have feedback. I was just giving everyone the opportunity because I was making a list. Okay. So you mentioned insurance claims, and so oh, I'm sorry. So you want to utilize the services. I recommend that the department utilize the services of a public adjuster or some type of a insurance adjuster. And I note to the department that water, there's questions of what kind of category the water is, whether it's a category 1, 2, or 3 water. This is water that was under a boil ban, so it's not the most clean water. So you have different remediation techniques that you need to go through. The department will be wise in utilizing a public adjuster, or some type of insurance adjuster. So I note that, in fact, I'm going to go as far as to say, considering it's a field I specialize in, and I've done a lot of this, I'd say the department's foolish if it doesn't utilize the services of an expert. So, okay, having said that, the next thing is, and thank you, Trustee Davis, for your love towards this magazine. I lobbied quite hard for it. I originally wanted 6 pages, but we got pushed down to or maybe originally I originally wanted it larger. Okay, so what I note.
You love that one, right?
Of course I love it. I'm happy we got it. I think this is. I'm going to give it either probably an A, maybe an A minus. But here.
Whoa! Hold on. Everybody, listen. Now, Monday I was eating chicken parmesan, and you had the quail with the broccoli.
That's right.
And you had pea soup. Mm-hmm. And you said it was a solid A, not quite an A plus.
Not quite an A plus.
So what happened? The pea soup?
Yeah, it was the minestrone soup isn't in front of me now. So that was a very good minestrone soup.
Dropped to A minus.
A minus. I'll say A. Okay, I'll give you an A. But here's what would make it better, and this is important. I want the board to hear this, and I want the organization to kind of think this way. So what we could do is we could put something in here about choice partners. And the way you want to frame it is we want to let the community know if they want to help public education utilize the services of choice partners. That could increase our revenue. It should increase our revenue. And if we increase our revenue, what it'll do, what I hope is we get close to paying for this through advertising choice partners in all the different things we do. My goal in this is to get it where it's quarterly, or maybe even more, but at least quarterly, going out to the general public. And if we utilize the services we have, I think the community wants to help. And if they find out that all they have to do, join Choice Partners, utilize Choice Partners, it'll help us and it'll help them out. Love it. This is a good way to inform the community. Thank you for your leadership on this. And otherwise, it reads really nicely. It's a beautiful magazine. Okay. Reading to the little ones, which I'm happy you're doing that. Glad to do it. But my question to the department is there a way that we can open it up, and it might not be time yet, and I might be in the minority in this, but is there a way we can open up to business leaders, other elected officials, and also have it where it streams at some point on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn? I think all that's important for a number of different reasons. One, if the general public, I think a lot of people want to help, and we could be a vehicle for where people can have interaction with children in a positive, in the youth in a positive way. So those are just kind of questions I have about that.
Okay, I'll look into that. Thank you, sir.
And thank you for this. Thank you for the books with the board. I think all of us are going to love it.
Yep.
Any other trustees have anything to comment or grow on that? So, Richard, we got any updates at the feasibility committee?
No official update, just, as everyone knows, the board continues to ask questions and get feedback from the department on the proposed equine facility, and so we'll continue to, I think we have a workshop coming up in a couple of weeks, and we're still working along on that, so that's it.
And I'm hopeful we do further utilize the feasibility committee with our future projects, because I think that's a good vehicle. And I'm hopeful also that we utilize it so much that you get tired of giving us reports, Richard. That's what I'm hopeful. Okay, I say that jokingly. Let's move on to other reports from board members concerning attendance or participation in a board or HCDE related conference, event activity or committee, accolades for an HCDE staff member or other deserving person. Seeing none, let's just keep moving through. Dr. Mesqua, do we have any monthly financial reports?
The first report is the financial highlights as of January 31st, 2020. Keep in mind this is the fifth month of the year. In February, we'll be at the halfway point for the fiscal year. We'll also have the budget amendment report, which is later on in the presentation. All our information is posted on our website. The balance sheet assets, we have $44,705,053. Liabilities of $1,928,571. Equity, including appropriated excess of $42,901,686. This chart was updated with the audited financial fund balance after the audit, and so right now we have $44,705,053. Including of excess of current revenues and resources, which we will utilize between now and the end of the fiscal year of $8,587,362. Our financial ratios as of January 31st, percentage of fund balance, general fund and expenditures ratio, we're at 97%. We were at the same time last year at 99%. Working capital ratio still strong at $43 million for 2021 as of right now. Unassigned fund balance ratio at 43%, which was at the same time last year we were at 44%. Debt to income ratio, we're at 3%. Last year at this time we were at 7%. Tax revenue to total revenue ratio, We're at 14%. Some of our revenue still has not come in as of January. The deadline for being delinquent is February the 1st. I was in contact with the tax office, and they received everybody, I think a lot of taxpayers waited until the last day to submit their payment so they will not be delinquent. So they received them, but they processed them until February because of manpower and being able to process those. So you're going to see a large number of revenues being collected in the month of February and not January. We already have those numbers right now. It's just that this report reflects only as of January 31st. But next month, you're going to see a spike in the revenue. Indirect cost to tax ratio, we're at 2%, same as last year. Fee-for-service revenue ratio, a little bit down at 14% versus 25% at the same time. The growth, last year we're at 46% at the same time. We're at -6%. There are some revenues that are still not coming in, so we'll evaluate those between now and the end of the year. Any amendments so far that we've done in the past? 125,204 between September and December. Revenue to actual, we have 48%. So we are slightly ahead in terms of revenues, 48% versus 42% in the general fund. Overall, we're at 53% budget to actual in terms of revenues billed and received versus the operating budget. In our expenditures, which is a good sign, is at 31%, which we're approximately 9% below the expending pattern. And so that means that some revenues may not be coming in, but the expenditures are not going out either. So this is a good sign for as of January. So we're at actually budget to actual at 27% overall, which is a good indicator that yes, some of the revenues may not be coming in, but some of the expenses are not going out either as well. COVID-19 expenditures budget to actual holding at still available in the general fund of $943,135. And in Head Start, we still have available $372,041 that we still will utilize between now and the end of the fiscal year. Donations report, we have for the month of January, $2,445 and $1,086 in in-kind, total of $3,531. Primarily sponsorships for TLC, Head Start, a number of supplies and donations that we received in the Head Start department or division. This is a comparative analysis of our tax collections in terms of our tax rate and values. We projected that we were going to be at $511 billion at the very beginning in August. We're right now at $510 billion. We only have $1.4 billion left for being certified. We're probably going to be getting there pretty soon. So that's a good sign that the values did materialize based on what we projected back in August. And so that's what you see here, the number 510 billion, where we're at so far right now. That would give us approximately another 173,000. If everything gets certified, we will get an extra 173,000 at the end of the year based on that projection. Okay, our collections year to date, we're at 49%. We've paid so far for the tax office and appraisal district, $244,632 for this month. So 49%, when you compare that to last year at the same time, we were at 76%. Now, when I mentioned that is that a lot of those collections are happening in February, not in January. So you will see that comparison even out more when we present the February financial statements next month. Yes, ma'am.
Do you foresee it evening out?
I've already confirmed that because we have the data already. We looked at the revenues. We get information provided to us daily on how much has been already collected, but we don't report it until a month later.
Yeah.
But by now, I already know that it's comparable to a year ago for February. So, but you won't see that report until April because we don't have an April board meeting. So I will report it until April at that time. But just know that, yes, that was a concern of mine when I saw the statistic at that time. And so I kept our staff looking at monitoring this collections, and so we are okay as of February. At the end of February, we're on target. Disbursements, we're at $3,170,308. 372 checks, 286 transactions, 6 transfers. They're all posted on our website. All the data is electronically available for the public. Educational certification, segment information, it's at minus $98,525. A lot of those revenues coming in the summer. Records management also, $211,959. Some of those projects are going to be coming in the summer, and so they've been identified already. Several revenues that are being targeted to be coming in later on in the year. Therapy, it's targeted at right now at $1,085,413, which is right about where it was projected in the budget. Excuse me. Schools, it's ahead at $1,893,645. Keep in mind that schools is a little bit different. Schools, we build rather at the very beginning of the semester, of both semesters. So right now we build for the entire year. And so there's revenues that has been recognized already for the entire year because it's a contract, not on a day-to-day basis. So the only thing that would be pending would be the summer school that would be added to this line item. And then choice continues to be at a strong benefit ratio of 70%. So we've received so far $1,887,048 for the first 5 months. So that's a good trend to continue at this point in time. The next ones are the budget amendments. General fund impact, 0. There are some budgets and transfers between accounts, and I'll go over those in a minute. Our grants, special revenue or grants that are $6.7 million. And then our capital projects, some adjustments that we're making at $2,368,815. So the first one is our legal fees, we transfer them between the different divisions. So we're just basically moving from one line item to another. So there's no impact or increase or decrease. It's just we're allocating to the different divisions how they are being expensed out. Our grant, we have a new grant from the Head Start Disaster Assistance Grant for $587,215. If you recall, we presented to you for the acquisition of 2 properties for our Coolwood Head Start program. So that's the money to pay for the land acquisition for those costs. And then we have the new grant for the Head Start Disaster Assistance Grant, which is the construction of that or replacement of that Coolwood facility, which is $7,854,842. So together those, it's over $8 million project for Coolwood Head Start that is funded solely by Head Start and federal dollars. Some adjustments to the placeholders are case $30,025. Some reclassification of some expenditures between funds, $1,174,572. We're moving those from a special revenue fund to a capital projects fund for special use. LaPorte construction project, also $300,000, and then reducing the Star Reimagine so that we can transfer that money to the LaPorte construction project, $163,574. Later on in the presentation in the board, there's a project for the LaPorte Construction Head Start program, which is $580,000. Those monies are used to basically to pay for that out of the general fund. In the capital projects, in the increases, as is to set aside the special use in COVID as a capital project, $1,174,572. And then the LaPorte construction project, which is $580,000. Again, the construction approval will come in later on in the presentation, or rather in the board agenda. And then moving also some local construction monies, $174,000 to the LaPorte construction project, so that we can fully fund the LaPorte construction project for Head Start. The Education Foundation update, we have as of January 31st, $886,242 in assets, compared to a year ago, about $2,000 difference from about a year ago. The majority of that is restricted, and we have 8,820 of donations and $202,013 in program contracts and payments made during the year. And again, this is a recap of pretty much each month. I'll give you a summary of all the cumulative checks and transactions that have happened in the fund. It's 8,828 and 202,013, and they're listed by check in the description included on there. In terms of the PFC and lease revenue projects, this is probably the first month that we'll start actually presenting the PFC in a different format. You will see the PFC column, which is our lease revenue bond, which is $30,661,835, and then our maintenance notes, which is $15,884,865. Total CIP as of January of $46,546,700. You will see also that number at the bottom, which is how much has been realized in terms of revenues, and then how much some of the transfers that are still pending that will come in later on in the year to make up the total amount of $51,580,915 as a total capital improvement program. And this is the original presentation from August the 3rd, 2020. The presentation after the bond closing of how much the proceeds was from each one. And some other projects underway that I mentioned earlier, Coolwood, which then the notice of grant agreement, it's in the later on in the agenda, and also the LaPorte Head Start, which is approximately $580,000, a little bit less than the estimate. And then some projects that are in the process of being paid out, the NPO elevator, Fortis HVAC and fence, and AB West playground. Any questions on the highlights before I go into the investments?
On the budget amendments where you had shown for the interim financial report, the money being pushed from disaster recovery to capital projects.
It's yes.
The 1.17 million.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the disaster recovery funds come from?
They are the same as these other ones right here. This one right here, general fund and Head Start.
So
It's
this
just-
was not from a grant or anything
Well,
along those
the
lines?
Head Start is the 372,000 of that is from a grant. The other one is from general fund.
So
We're just setting aside in a separate fund.
it's not inappropriate that we would take money that was for a grant for COVID disaster and put it into capital fund?
No, it's we're just classifying as a capital project as a special use because we've been expending a lot of sneeze guards and renovations to the facility. But it is basically capital. It's basically general fund money and Head Start money, a combination of those two.
Okay, and it's still being used for COVID
For
prevention?
COVID expenses, yes. It's
Okay.
just a reclassification. That's all it is.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up to that. I was going to ask about the same thing. So is this the same money that we spent that we did not budget to spend? This is COVID-related expenditures?
Yes.
Do we still expect to be reimbursed for this?
No. What the appropriation that you approve, that you approve is 1.5 million, of which there's still 943 left out of that money. And then that time we had a lot of expenditures in the general fund that now we were able to move them to Head Start because early in the year we did not have a commitment from the federal government for COVID. Later on they came in and it's a total of 1.1 million. Of which we still have 372,000 left over. So there's a $1.3 million overall between both funds available for COVID-19. The actual expenditures has actually slowed down. as you can see that there's not an increase, continued increase in those expenditures. The next presentation is our investment report. And again, I wish I could report higher interest rates. It's good and bad, right? It's good that we're not paying on the debt side, but on the investment side, there's not a whole lot to make. Our portfolio is $87,009,096, PFC of $31,614,808. And so the general fund and all the other funds are $55,394,288. The portfolio is structured that we try to diversify that among the different types of investment pools: TexPool, TechStart, Texas Class, Chase, and Lone Star Investment Pool. We're going to try to add another pool so as to break this Lone Star Investment Pool about half, so that we don't have a larger piece in one pool itself. Our HCDE, our PFC investments are in TexPool and Bank of Texas, $31,614,808. The change in the portfolio from a year ago, it's up 77%, given the additional money that was invested, or an additional $37,888,788. All our monies right now are virtually overnight, $55 million. We've earned $14,283, and in the PFC, $3,386. Earning 6 basis points versus 6.5, that's a benchmark. And the rates, as you can start seeing them, I don't know that they can get any lower. Hopefully won't go into negative interest rate. But they're at 5 and 8 basis points right now in the pools. So when we look at our investment options, you can see pretty much anywhere from 0.5 to 0.6, 0.8, 0.7. So pretty low interest rate at this point in time, just on the investment side. Any questions regarding our investment portfolio? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mesqua. Moving right along, our consensus agenda.
Yes, sorry to interrupt, President Dick. There's one change to the consensus agenda, a typographical error on agenda item 6F3.
Blind as a bat.
6F3. So if you go to right before action items non-consensus, that the previous item is F. And so number 3, consider approval of contract award for job number 21/003KJ for mental wellness services.
Mm-hmm.
The change is the end date should be, instead of 2/28/2022, it should be 2026.
Cool.
Thank you for that clarification.
Anything else, or that's it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're at the consensus agenda. These are the items that we're going to kind of approve in a group. Is there any items that any board members wants to take out so we can individually assess? Consensus agenda. Okay, seeing no remarks about that. Do I have a motion to approve the consensus agenda?
I move for the consensus agenda to be approved as modified.
Oh,
just modified.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Norris, seconded by Trustee Cantu. Is there any discussion? No discussion. Let's put it for a vote. All in favor? Thank you, Trustee Norris, by the way. Okay. We're going to go It's going to go to the non-consensus agenda. Find it. Okay. So 7A, consider approval of the project delivery contract method of job order, contracting and the approval of job order contract for the renovations to the existing LaPorte Head Start Center. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Trustee Norris. Do I have a second? Seconded by Trustee Cantu. Is there any discussion on this? See no discussion, let's put it for a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Passes unanimously. B, consider selection of the architect of the Humble Head Start project based on demonstrated competence and qualifications pursuant to RFQ 20/043 IA. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Trustee Norris. Do I have a second? Second by Trustee Cantu. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's put it for a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Unanimously. C, consider selection of an architect for the Barrett Station Head Start project based on demonstrated competence and qualifications pursuant to RFQ 20043 IA. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Trustee Norris. Do I have a second? Second by Trustee Cantu. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's put it for a vote. All in favor? Passes unanimously. D, consider approval of the consider approval of the project delivery contract method of job order contracting and the approval of the job order contract for the replacement of the fire alarm. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion made by Trustee Norris, seconded by Trustee Cantu. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's put it for a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. E, consider approval of a contract award for job number 210003427 for E-rate services for Harris County Department of Education to the proposer offering the best value to HCDE and the meeting specifications outlined in the proposal for the period of 7/1/2021 through 6/30/2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Trustee Norris. Do I have a second? Seconded by Trustee Cantu. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's put it for a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. We're going to go to F. Consider approval of the contract award for job number 210003427 for E-rate services for Harris County Department of Education to the proposer offering the best value to HCDE and meeting the specifications outlined in the proposal for the period of 7/1/2021 through 6/30/2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Trustee Norris. Do I have a second? Seconded by Trustee Cantu. Do we have any questions? Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's put it for vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Whew. Okay. We're burning through it. We're doing it. Let's keep the momentum. G, consider approval of board resolution authorizing a grant application for the Office of Governor, Criminal Justice Division on behalf of the Center for Safe and Secure Schools. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Trustee Norris. Do I have a second? Second made by Trustee Cantu. Do we have any discussion? Davis or was it Cantu? Was it Davis or was it both?
I think I heard Davis speak Cantu that time.
Okay, then I got me. You got me. Okay. It was a photo finish. Okay, Trustee Davis. Okay, seconded by Trustee Davis. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's put it for a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous? Okay, so, yeah, so we're going to pull H. I don't have to read it. Okay, pulling H. Okay, this is a good one. I, consider approval of removal of Don Sumners as director of the HCDE Public Facility Corporation Board of Directors.
So
Do I have a
moved.
motion?
So moved.
Motion made by trustee Norris. Do I have a second? Second by trustee Cantu. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's put it for a vote. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so J, consider appointment of a director of the HCDE Public Facility Corporation Board of Directors. So before we have a motion, I have a question. Who all already is on this HCDE Public Facility Corporation Board of Directors?
Excellent question. The current HCDE board members who are directors of the Public Facility Corporation Board are Trustee Cantu and Trustee Norris. The other members of the PFC board are Mr. Rich Vela, Dr. Amesqua, Mr. Colbert, and Mr. Carillon.
Okay. So I note to the board I don't particularly want to be on it. Don't nominate me. Okay. So okay. So we're going to consider an appointment of a director of HCDE Public Facility Corporation Board of Directors. So this is going to be in the form of a nomination. I guess the first question I have to the board is who is interested in this appointment. One is we don't have to appoint anybody. Two, we can appoint somebody, and I recommend we do appoint somebody. Is Trustee Duhan interested in this?
I would be willing to take that on.
Okay. So do I have, are we in consensus on this? We okay with?
I'll make that motion to nominate.
And I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion made for Trustee Duhan to be appointed as a director of the HCDE Public Facility Corporation Board of Directors, and we have a second. Motion made by Trustee Cantu, motion seconded by Trustee Norris. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's put it for a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Okay, pursuant to Government Codes Section 551001 to 551084, including but not limited to 551071 to 551074, we are going to executive session. It is 2:25 p.m. The agenda you want us to talk about in the future, because we're not going to have anything till next month, middle of next month, April. This is a time where we can talk about what we want to see on the agenda, which are interested in. That's the purpose of that item. Yes, Trustee Duhan?
I have a little trivial thing that I would like to mention. I had mentioned to Danielle Bartz in one of the meetings that I have seen some of the ISD trustees with their name and position on their shirts and jackets, and I would request that we could do that too, and I would like to know if you all would be interested in that as well.
And I believe that's probably an overwhelming yes. That's probably a.
I've heard the mask, I've heard the shirts, the coat.
Any other potential agenda items anybody may want on the board? I don't see. Okay. So, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by Trustee Norris, seconded by Trustee Cantu. Let's put it for a vote. Or is there any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Seeing no discussion, let's put it for a vote. All in favor? Passes unanimously. It's 4:22 p.m. and we are done.